Hello, I'm Rick, the Fat Man GM. I am your GM, your game master for the day. I have 40 years of experience. I began playing when I was 12 years old, and my experience runs from old Dungeons and Dragons through Star Wars and Battletech, Shadowrun, and a slew of others. It's always been my philosophy that role-playing games and tabletop board games, gaming as a social medium is a great way for all walks of life to come together and enjoy camaraderie and exploring and stepping out of our comfort zone, if you will. So this is your place at the table.
Alright, my friends, this is Orion Ruse. It is a venture module set in fastest Star Trek role-playing universe circa the 80s and 90s, and this particular one is in conjunction with the Orion's playbook and character books. So we have some distinct stuff. The captain of the TransSolar Eridani star was not a happy man. By all rights, he ought to have been satisfied, confident, even smug. He just received permission to open trade talks with the Orion-settled world of Daros IV, the commercial center for an entire sector. Unfortunately, thought the captain there is a fly in the ointment. Several flies, in fact, and they all wear Starfleet uniforms. A Federation merchant ship has disappeared near the Daros system, and someone in intelligence was convinced that the Eridani star would make an excellent spy ship. Now, we're all familiar with game modules, and basically it's a preset adventure, a series of adventures set up for X amount of group of players, blah, blah, blah. This one has a bit of a twist to it. The adventure, you have two separate campaign variants and the Star Trek role-playing game are brought together, involving both Starfleet officers and independent merchants as player characters. Each group has come to the Orion colonized world of Daros IV on an important mission, but whereas the merchant characters see Daros as a world of golden opportunity, Starfleet characters have a much lower opinion of the planet and its inhabitants. Much of the entertainment and excitement of in this scenario should come from two sets of characters with differing skills and very different goals, attempting to compete with their missions without causing each other complete disaster. The Game Master will need a copy of Fastest Merchant Supplement, Trader Captains, and Merchant Princes in order to run the adventure successfully. The Orion Ruse is intended for a group of 2 to 10 players. One group must play the role of the ship's captain, while another acts as leader of the Federation boarding party. Starfleet characters. So basically here what we're talking about is in your group, you're going to take your players, and they're going to split. They're going to have half running the Orion crew, or running the merchant ship as merchants and merchanteer, and the other half are going to be Starfleet officers and sent by the Office of Starfleet Intelligence to discover what's happened to this Federation merchant ship and to solve the problem. So there should be a conflict of interest going on here, and yet there's an air of compromise and cooperation, because both sides do not want to see the opportunity to fail, but they also want to achieve their agendas, which can make for a bit of a convoluted campaign. So we got our plot synopsis, contents of the book, merchant crew's briefing, which is different from the Starfleet officer's briefing, approaching the planet, landing, post-official, attempted the offer for the cargo, control center, chance for bribery. So we got some maps. There are pictures of the location, first contact with Keros. And so we pretty much have this uneven balance between the Federation trying to get what it needs and the Federation officers who are supposed to be in disguise of members of the merchant crew achieving their mission without intruding on the actual merchant ships and the merchant captains. I don't call it a quest, but his job is to open trade with the Orions on this planet, which would open then an entire sector of trade. So it's a bit of an interest. So we got evenings entertainment, circling the city. Let's see. Kellen will Representative Gar will train and followers or identify themselves Kellen Karos, Chief Chade, representative of the Karos family at the starport. Kellen will invite the captain, the cargo master, back to his office. If one or more of the Starfleet personnel insist on going along, Kellen will not refuse the request, but will be puzzled and ask, who is this person? Kellen will welcome the characters into the office. It contains a desk, so ideally, if I go by this, perhaps the senior Federation officer should be posing as the cargo master, which would then justify this without raising suspicion. But I imagine the players need to come to that conclusion on their own. Tour the city by air, entertainment provided by the locals, of course. The service will announce the characters in a loud voice. Same time, fairly short Orion male wearing simple tunic, embroidered with the Karos extending will raise from the central couch. It's the group. Blah. The humans are introduced as Solomon Kane, captain of the Illusion, and Jack Corrigan, Kane's first mate. Kane is a slender man of Oriental case. Yeah, taking care of business, inspecting the Illusion. See, the way I understand it was that the captain of the Illusion is actually a person who helped hijack the original merchant ship, which is the Illusion, intending to use it for piracy and smuggling within the Federation, and for obvious reasons want to avoid any Starfleet personnel having any opportunity to inspect the ship. So here's an opportunity to inspect the ship from the outside. Ship has a weapon system aboard, some sort of disruptor. Ship's impulse engines, number of crewmen on board. Unwelcome visitors of the snoopers are detected. The crew of the Werewolf, i.e. the Illusion. Several of the Bronner and Wolfen will leave the ship. Several of the Bronnier ship crew will leave the ship and try to ambush the individuals and take them captive and interrogate them. And we discover who they are, make them disappear, which nobody wants. High market. Meanwhile, the trade delegation is still trying to, the ship captain's trying to assess the market of the planet, figure out what's going on, what's valuable, what's not, what he can do, what he can get for a ship cargo in exchange. Says here, besides offering the crew of the Eridani Star an opportunity to make more money, the high market should prove an invaluable source of background information for Starfleet's spy team. After all, the market is the center of the planet's economy, and the business of Daros is business. Crowds and streets of domes of the high market are hive of mercantile gossip. Any character attempts to overhear something useful must require to make a skill roll against its ratings in the streetwise to filter out the background noise, blah blah blah. Following useful tidbits or information. Said someone or some families been selling small amounts of Klingon manufactured high-tech goods at high prices. Most of the sales take place in the shadow market, and a merchant named Arva is most often mentioned in the middle for the middle Orion involved. Raised eyebrows. The shadow market, typical of a lot of frontier planets or planets that are not Federation core planets, like the Orion's various worlds of interest. There's going to be a black market of sorts. In this case, they call it shadow market. Always a place for somebody to buy and sell things that are not considered acceptable, either in the local exchanges or local markets, or in neighboring systems. So just because something is considered blacklisted or illegal in some other place like the Federation, they may not be in the Klingon Empire, and they may not be, definitely won't be in the Orion colonies, and so it's not considered illegal to do this, but they still conducive to do things on the sly. So there's a point to having the shadow market. In the shadow market, just getting from one place to the other can be quite an adventure. Every time the characters set out from one location within its boundaries, the game master should roll a percentile dice the encounter using the encounter table below. Characters who are idly or interjectly walking in the alleys in search of information, profit, or pleasure shall be rewarded with one encounter roll for every 30 minutes they devote to that activity. So we got things like a drunk, a tribble salesman, like everybody needs tribbles, beggars, the dream seller, ladies of the evening, Savro Karav. We'll meet Savro Karav of the Karav family, flunky at the Delos Skeller Starport. Servo has been slightly more surly and brandy than is good for him. It will be just barely managed to remember who they are through his alcoholic haze. Bag of Bones, Mercenary Warriors, Smuggling Made Simple. It's not necessarily easy to find good buys in the shadow market. After all, the market is crawling with con artists and beggars looking for an easy mark. Other characters with a talent for mingling with the wrong sort could eventually end up finding something illegal they can buy. Depending on the situation, the game master may decide that a character making such a search might find a bargain. Other situations, he may decide to require a successful skill roll. Things like Klingon beverages, flower dust, Sorial pelts, LaRue stones, Klingon weapons. Because, you know, every Federation member, everybody who lives in the Federation should obviously have a Klingon weapon. Should have a disruptor rifle in their closet, as opposed to a phaser. Searching for Ira. Members of the Starfleet intelligence team decide the first method is a bit too obvious. They may choose to search for Ira posing as merchants looking for cargo to smuggle into the Federation. Should the characters embark on this course of action, the Game Master can use the methods detailed in the shadow market to judge this search. Search will be far more difficult if Karav is suspicious already of this Eridani Star's crew. In addition, expert acting by the Starfleet traders could blow their cover. What do you mean you won't buy any flower dust? This stuff sells like spice and flame gems on the Carlon. Hey, just who are you anyway? Finally, the characters can just find the Orions who are likely to know where Ira is, a competitor, for example. Persuade him at phaser point if need be to take them to him. While this approach may seem a bit rough, it is probably the one most likely to get results. Imagine that. Place for business. Sauron's hole is a seedy, smoke-filled dive deep in the heart of the shadow market. Ira's hiding place. Then we got Klingon in flight. Klingon captive. If they subdue the Klingon, the characters will discover they have collared one Kolar, whose papers identify him as an independent commercial traveler. He has no weapons on his person, although the search will reveal a pocket computer in one of his pockets. Interrogating Kolar. Customs inspection. Back at the bargaining table. Shot in the dark. I mean, there's a lot of information here, a lot of stuff. A slave girl who is basically going to take advantage of one of the crew members and board the ship and get information or steal something. Ambush, breaking, entering, escape from the mountain, the pursuit, mountain hidden base. So we got our cast of characters. Let's see, Ira Karav. Says 6 foot tall, thin Orion, unusually dark complexion. He's loyal to the Maros Karav family, but his loyalty is not unbound. Ira's wound tempered his natural recklessness, but left his ambitions intact. His services to Karav are rendered for cold cash, and the advancement is a branch of the family. Ira appears to be slow-moving, but his deliberate motions conceal ability to explode into action with lightning-click speed. His voice is calm and quiet, but observant characters will hear a tone of one accustomed to receiving instant obedience. He has a tight, bitter, conic smile. And then we got an assassin, we got a thug, mercenary guard, green-skinned Orion, standard issue guard, another thug, the Karos family. So we got conflicts of interest. Solomon Kane, a human who is the captain of the Commerce Raider Werewolf, the former illusion or whatever whatever it was called. Age 35, newly promoted Commander Kane was given command of the USS Cortez, a Nelson-class scout, in order to patrol an area just beyond the Orion worlds. Incredibly, 4 years, the ship never encountered an Orion privateer. After returning from that cruise, Kane was accused of murdering the merchant on Daros II. Merchant parts claimed they made arrangements to sell Kane a large supply of Curial dust, a potent narcotic. After the deal fell through, Kane knifed his partner, stole the drugs. Kane resigned from Starfleet disgrace and vanished from view. Loyal to himself, typical pirate captain. Jack Corrigan, a commerce raider, the first officer of the Werewolf. Black Alex Solomov, human navigator on the Werewolf. Ship's doctor on the Werewolf. Apparently the ship's doctor is an addict. While serving aboard the Galaxy Exploration Command vessel USS Amundsen, Metz was arrested and charged with illegal narcotics use. He allowed to resign from Starfleet and his license was revoked. Several years of living hand-to-mouth existence on a backwater Federation colony worlds, Metz made his way to the Orion worlds where he signed on with Solomon Kane. Just because you don't have a legal right to practice doesn't mean you're still not a trained and knowledgeable doctor. You just can't legally do it. What is a ship full of pirates are going to really care about that, right? Metz has no real motivation save the overwhelming need to maintain a steady supply of adrenaline. Kane knows about his addiction and secured the unfortunate doctor's loyal by ensuring that supply. As a result, Metz is content to serve Kane, and he will follow Kane's orders no matter how bloodthirsty, sadistic they may be. Under the influence of the drug, Metz is a bright, jolly, and utterly psychotic. The drug's after effects will leave him a vacuous idiot. In his normal state, Metz is a sullen, embittered man who loathes himself as much as he does the rest of the galaxy. Yeah, this is a character I want working on me in a pinch. Commerce engineer, Raider Werewolf's boarding party, the head of the boarding party. Mac the knife. Joachim the Baron Hartzer. The Klingons Kolar Lieutenant. Human fusion Klingon. Combines both human and Klingon features. Says some years ago, Kolar's family line fell in disrepute. Although another member of the line was responsible, Kolar believes his promotion has been retarded because of the result. He reviews Daros operations as an opportunity to regain his honor, and he will not willingly compromise any of it in any way, even to save his own life. Starfleet intelligence operatives, maps. See, and I read through this thing twice, and I'm not 100% sure exactly how this thing is supposed to have played out. I mean, it talks about a lot of different things, and there's a lot of information here. But some of these modules, sometimes the creator of the module forgets the gist of what the tight thread of what everybody's supposed to be doing and achieving here. There's vague references to it. There's some obvious references to it, but there's some, kind of intermingling. The first beginning with a merchant crew and intelligence members of Starfleet happen to work together to achieve several different goals, and then suddenly we have some Klingons with their own goals and a separate Orion family that's involved, and it just kind of, a lot of stuff here that potentially is not completely explained, in my opinion. It doesn't make it a bad module. There's a lot of information here. Some of it you have to go through, and decide. It's like here, it says searching for Ira, but it doesn't really explain why we're searching for him. Other than we know he's third of the family that they're supposed to be negotiating with are potentially the people who stole the ship, the merchant ship that are now being used as a pirate ship, the Werewolf, except the entire crew of the Werewolf seems to be human. And a Klingon in flight. So now we have yet a fourth potential thing that's not overly explained. After leaving by the back door, the fugitive Klingon from Soren's hull will try to lose any pursuers in the narrow, twisting alley shadow market. Any characters going after him will not be too far behind. In this case, should quickly develop a pell-mell, box-circling, fence-climbing file dash to the milling streets of curious onlookers. Yeah, that's typical Klingon behavior. Why wouldn't the Klingon turn and try to aggressively intimidate the others or to force them into combat? I don't know. Don't know. But anyway, a lot of good stuff, a lot of potential here. The Orion Ruse.